Hello and welcome to InfoScope. I'm your host, Hannah Kim. Happy New Year, everyone. I hope 2017 brings you lots of joy and happiness. Now, with the new year, we are ready to start 2017 with more updates from the IT and science world. Let's start off the new year by taking a look at a few upcoming stories. First up, we have news about the completion of a genome sequence for Koreans based on 26 men and 15 women. This will be immensely helpful for studying diseases Koreans are more vulnerable to compared to other ethnicities. And in other news, at a science and technology fair, visitors had the chance to experience various technologies firsthand, like playing shadow table tennis and interacting with a dancing healthcare robot. We have more on this story and more next on Briefing Scope. In late November of last year, the Gwangju Institute of Science and Technology held an exhibition featuring the institute's research achievements in fields related to the Fourth Industrial Revolution. At the exhibition, there were investment and startup consultation, and visitors had a chance to experience different technologies firsthand. Researchers from the Ulsan National Institute of Science and Technology have published the Korean Reference Genome. Named Korean Reference, or KOREF, the blueprint assembled the genomes of 41 Koreans, and researchers aim to map the genome sequence of up to 10,000 Koreans to improve KOREF's accuracy. North Korea recently opened a symposium on space technology. According to North Korea's state news agency KCNA, the symposium featured more than 250 papers from North Korean science and educational institutions, and it aims to promote the importance of space development for peaceful purposes and foster cooperation between institutions. I think this is the first time ever on InfoScope where we talked about science news in North Korea, but that symposium seems like a very large-scale project in Pyongyang. It'll be interesting to find out more in the near future. Now, moving on, you probably heard about secondhand smoking, but third-hand smoking refers to harmful cigarette residue left on wallpapers or furniture. Believe it or not, this may be just as harmful as first-hand smoking, even more for children. But how so? We'll find out shortly. Next up, we have news about insects. There are over 1 million species of insects on Earth, and they are being put to use in different fields. Can you imagine having insects in our foods or in robotics? Well, we have all the updates on how they are being applied coming up on Industry Inside.
A restaurant in Seoul. At a glance, the customers look like they are having regular pasta, but it's actually made with edible insects.
곤충이 들어갔다는 거는 알고 있었는데 정확히 어디에 들어가 있는지는.
Edible insects have become popular due to their high protein content and are processed into powder or liquid. This dragonfly-inspired robot flies autonomously, and upon seeing a person, automatically changes course to avoid a collision. It has 2 cameras and a small computer that can recognize obstacles ahead.
The unique thing about the Delphi Explorer is that it can fly all by itself. We just plug in the battery, it takes off, it flies around, it avoids obstacles, keeps its height, and like this it can explore unknown environments.
This robot, inspired by a water strider, jumps over the water. It is capable of jumping up to 14 centimeters, giving it many potential uses, especially for reconnaissance. Insects are finding their way into our daily lives, from food to templates for robots. There are times when you can smell tobacco smoke even when no one is smoking at the time. It's because there's tobacco smoke residue like tar and nicotine left on furniture or walls. About 50 different substances found in cigarette smoke can be detected for about 18 hours and do not easily disappear even after ventilating a room. In particular, when nicotine is absorbed by dust, 80% of the original amount is detected even 22 days later. When nicotine fuses with a gas, it can become a carcinogen.
실내 표면에 흡착된 니코틴 같은 성분이 이 공기 중에 어떤 아질산과 같이 반응하게 되면은 뭐 발암성이 높은 나이트로소아민을 생성할 수 있습니다. 그래서 이런 것들 때문에 굉장히 좀 위험할 수 있습니다.
An experiment with lab mice showed that the risks of developing liver cancer and non-alcoholic fatty liver go up, meaning that long-term exposure to a third-hand smoke is as dangerous as smoking directly. Children are at higher risk.
아이와 같은 경우는 특히 이제 호흡기 쪽이 많이 좀 자극이 될 수 있고요. 과잉 행동 장애 등이 나타날 수도 있고 또 이제 청력이 떨어질 수도 있는데요.
As first-hand and second-hand smoking has been proven to be harmful, measures are needed to tackle third-hand smoking. With global warming becoming a major issue, there are ongoing efforts to reduce carbon dioxide emissions. One idea involves capturing carbon dioxide and storing it underground, but it comes with the risk of gas leakage. Researchers from Iceland have come up with a solution. As carbon dioxide becomes a carbonate when absorbed by basalt, the new method involves converting carbon dioxide into a liquid form.
New methods and technologies for capturing CO2 and H2S emissions and turning them into rock.
The researchers melted carbon dioxide in water and inserted liquid carbon dioxide into underground basalt. They found that 2 years later, 95% of the carbon dioxide had become a carbonate. However, they weren't certain whether they'd get the same results outside Iceland, which has lava flowing underground. However, researchers from the United States successfully conducted a similar experiment using a basaltic layer where lava does not flow. Instead of melting CO2 in water, the researchers applied heat and pressure to convert it into a liquid state and inserted it into basalt.
That's permanent. It can't leak. There's no place for it to go. It's back to solid rock. So there isn't a more safer or permanent storage mechanism than this mineralization and carbonation.
As basalt is one of the most common rock types in the world, this technology has great potential. However, it must first tackle the high costs of building a facility that can trap carbon dioxide underground.
In our previous episodes, we talked about using carbon dioxide to make diesel fuel, and now we are seeing other uses of this greenhouse gas. And it goes on to show that there's extensive research on environmental pollution as well, with water pollution being one of them. Harmful materials flowing into the ocean are polluting water, and now Korean researchers have developed a system that can pinpoint the exact location of the polluted seabed, purify the sediment, and even use it for different purposes. We'll have more details on this for you in just a bit. But first, we're going to look at some health-related news. Alzheimer's disease is a disorder in the world's top 10 causes of death that lacks a cure or a preventative measure. In fact, Alzheimer's disease arises when two different types of proteins start accumulating in the brain, and new medication may be able to stop this. So let's find out more about this treatment next on Take a Peek.
Alzheimer's disease makes up 70% of all dementia cases. Patients first become forgetful, lose their motor functions, fall into depression, and suffer from other symptoms. Alzheimer's disease is caused by the accumulation of proteins beta amyloid in the brain and tau in brain cells. Preventing these abnormal formations can prevent the disease, but there hasn't been a proven way to do this. Now, Korean researchers have confirmed that a chemical compound used to stop cell death can help prevent the accumulation of these proteins.
베타아밀로이드의 응집, 그리고 타우의 응집, 세포 사멸도 억제하고 그리고 인지 기능을 개선시켜주는 그런 약물로 저희가 평가를 하고 있습니다.
An experiment with mice afflicted by Alzheimer's disease showed that the protein plaques had disappeared. Their cognitive functions were restored to normal levels as well. Researchers hope that this form of treatment can be applied to patients whose Alzheimer's disease has progressed beyond the initial stages.
이 두 가지 단백질이 변화를 하면서 세포 사멸이 일어나고 그리고 인지 기능의 마비가 오게 되는데요. 세포 사멸 자체도 맞기 때문에 초기뿐만이 아니라 중기 알츠하이머 환자분들에게도 사용이 될 수 있는 물질이 아닐까라고 생각을 하고 있습니다.
The researchers will conduct additional research on administering the compound and possible side effects before following through with clinical tests. The seafloor is filled with trash. The sheer amount of trash and other foreign materials is polluting the ocean's sediment. In an analysis of 27 underwater regions of great concern in Korea, highly toxic compounds like polychlorinated biphenyl were detected in 21 regions, calling for immediate action. Now, Korean researchers have developed a system that can purify polluted sediment. Once the sediment's removed, particles smaller than 10 millimeters are selected, and magnets are used to separate heavy metals. Next, particles smaller than 75 micrometers are processed to remove organic matter, and particles smaller than 20 micrometers are washed with ultra-fine bubbles. As a result, up to 60% of heavy metals like copper, zinc, and cadmium are removed, as well as 82% of organic matter. The purified sediment can be put back into the ocean or be used to make bricks and other materials.
해양 퇴적물 정화부금뿐만 아니라 준설물질이라든가 육상의 하천, 호수, 저수지, 댐 밑바닥의 퇴적물 및 오염토양 정화 등 관련 환경시장에서 충분히 활용될 수 있습니다.
Given the system's versatility, the researchers believe that it will be quite competitive on the global environmental market, which is worth $674 million. Glaucoma is one of the top 3 causes of blindness in Korea. Glaucoma patients have increased by 50%, with some 760,000 seeking treatment last year alone. Glaucoma is caused by rising ocular pressure, which damages optic nerves, and it is often discovered too late as there are no symptoms. There are currently no treatments that will fully cure glaucoma.
현재에서 유일한 방법은 실명까지 가기 전에 빨리 약물 치료를 해서 추가로 손상이 되거나 급격히 진행하는 걸 막는 게 유일한 방법인데요.
Now, Korean researchers have developed contact lenses that are more effective than administering eye drops. They added insoluble vitamins A and E to boost the effectiveness of the medication. First, soft contact lenses are dipped in a solution made of alcohol, vitamins, and medication. The medication and vitamins attach to the surface of the lenses, so when the patient wears them, the medication covers a greater surface area for a longer time. The medication does not flow out of the eyes like eye drops, and a similar medical effect can be created with 20% less medication.
저희가 개발된 기술처럼 저렴한 비타민을 이용해서 약물 투입량을 늘릴 수가 있다라고 하면 나중에 제조 공정의 가격을 낮출 수가 있을 것으로 기대가 됩니다.
The researchers hope that this technology will help treat not only glaucoma, but also other ocular disorders.
While contact lenses are normally used to improve eyesight, they can now be used to deliver medication to your eyes. It would be great if other convenient treatment methods are developed to tackle eye-related diseases. You can literally kill 2 birds with 1 stone. Well, this concludes our episode of InfoScope. I hope you all learned something new from today's show, but remember, we will be back next week with more from science and IT. Again, Happy New Year, everyone, and please continue to join me here in 2017 as well. But goodbye for now.